This is a great pair of questions. A lot of people have trouble with this, but I'm going to show you how we can deal with confusion. A lot of people ask questions on the reading section. I can't figure out, there's multiple choices that seem right. I don't understand the passages. I feel like I'm rereading a lot. I hope to answer a lot of questions about that kind of stuff with just this one pair. So stick with me. We're going to follow the QLC method, which is my process for every single reading question. I read the question, then go to the line references, then go to the choices. So why that matters here is that we have two questions, right? So we're going to be jumping back and forth between them. Let's make sure that we understand the original question. Wolf indicates that the procession she describes in the passage. Okay, so all I know is that I care about the procession. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot to go on. But if the choice, if the line reference, so QL, if the line reference has nothing to do with the procession, then I can probably get rid of it. But let's see what we can do here. So 12 to 17, choice A, is right here. Okay. There they go, our brothers who have been educated at public schools and universities, mounting those steps, passing in and out of those doors, ascending those pulpits, preaching, teaching, administering justice, practicing medicine, transacting business, making money. Okay, well, it sounds to be a description of who's in the procession. So it's the who. Okay. I don't know if that's relevant. I have no idea, but it's about the procession, so I'm going to leave it in, and I'm going to give myself a 1 or 2 word dumb summary to capture what I read. It is not meant to perfectly capture it. It is just a reference for later when I have to start sorting through these to make my life easier. So that's the key. Don't try to interpret what you read more than the bare minimum, okay? Just be okay with confusion. It's fine. Choice B, 17 to 19. So that is here. It is a solemn sight, always a procession, like a caravanserai crossing a desert. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but the one word I do know is the word solemn, which means kind of something like sad. So maybe you just write that, or you just kind of use a negative to denote that this choice is saying that something bad is happening with the procession. I don't know. Okay, 23 to 24. Here we go. For there, traipsing along at the tail end of the procession, we go ourselves. So, okay. Again, I don't really know what this means. It's clearly about the procession. So, we are at end. We at end. I don't know the we are. Figure it out later. 30 to 34. Right here. We too can leave the house, can mount those steps, pass in and out of those doors, make money, administer justice. We who now agitate these humble pens may in another century or two speak from a pulpit. Well, I don't see anything about the procession here. Maybe they're talking about the same people that are at the end of the procession. It's the same we, I would guess. But it doesn't sound like they're at the procession. Honestly, this choice just seems the most wrong to me. Maybe you leave it in because you're trying to say, okay, it kind of relates. But it's certainly less related than the choices that came before it. And so, that's okay. Our job is not necessarily to eliminate all of the wrong answers from these line references. Our job is just to understand the line references. Let's see what the raw material is that we're working with. So as we go into the choices now for question 36, we kind of have a sense of what we can match with. What did they want us to care about? It's one of these 4 things. Maybe one of these 3 things now that we're getting rid of D. But let's take a look at these choices. This is such a great question. Okay. It has come to have more practical influence in recent years. I don't know what that means. And that's okay. But what words in that choice are the strongest, right? So what words are doing the most work, conveying the most meaning? What are the things that we're going to need to check? Well, practical is definitely a strong word. It matters here. We also have this idea of recent years, right? That time has passed. So do I remember reading anything about those? Time passing, comparing time? Well, no, they're traipsing along at the end. We are leaving the house. It's a solemn sight always. And they're describing what it is. So I have some strong phrases here. Strong words, strong phrases that bother me. And look, I might not understand the whole choice, what it means. But that's okay. I also might not understand these lines perfectly. But now I'm going back to them with a clearer idea of what I want them to say. Do they say anything about recent years versus past years? No. So that's not a good sign for choice A. What is the practical influence of the procession? I really don't know. I don't know what that even means. That's a phrase that doesn't mean anything to me. So A is wrong. Now, a lot of people keep it in, and that might be okay if you do. It's going to be wrong overall, but a lot of people also pick this choice because it's so weird. They just kind of get overwhelmed by that and just pick it. But let's keep going. Let's look through these choices. It has become a celebrated feature of English public life. Well, there is one word that is very strong in that choice, the word celebrated. That's a very positive idea. Look at my choices again. Which of them was positive? Certainly not A, that was just describing the people. B said the word solemn, which is negative, so that doesn't really help. C doesn't seem positive or negative. They're traipsing along at the end. I don't know, is that positive? It's certainly not as positive as the word celebrating. So that's very simple. And that's what finding strong words is about. It's not just about saying, okay, this is wrong in the choice, but it's about giving us better questions to ask, right? More specific things to look for in the line references. Celebrated is a very powerful word. And so I can look for that idea in the choices. And if I don't see anything that matches with that, well, it doesn't bode well for the choice. Let's look at C. It includes all of the richest and most powerful men in England. Well, do they talk about rich and powerful men in England? Kinda. The top does. Our brothers and sisters who have been educated at public schools and universities. They are the preaching, teaching, administering justice, practicing medicine, transacting business, making money. They seem pretty powerful and pretty rich. But strong words means we don't just want to find the words that match with what we said, rich, powerful, or rich and powerful and rich. We need to look at words that also kind of slip by us sometimes, but have a lot of power, a lot of strength. And words like all and most are very, very strong. Very strong, right? Because we have to take those words literally. When we use them all the time in our conversations, we're very rarely being literal. We're exaggerating for the sake of effect. But the SAT does not exaggerate about this stuff. All means all. Do we have evidence that all, without any exception, of the richest and most powerful men in England are in this procession? No, we do not. That is a big claim. So some of them may be there, but not all of them. And that leaves us with D, which a lot of people don't pick because I don't think it stands out as being right. But let's take a look at it and see if we can find these ideas now in the lines. The procession has become less exclusionary in its membership in recent years. Well, I've got that recent years ideas that I didn't like before. But I also have another strong phrase, less exclusionary. Is there anything that I can point to that says that more people are included in the procession, right? It's less exclusive means it's more inclusive, right? So either of those ideas can be here. And if we go to A, it's just listing a bunch of people. B is saying it's solemn, so that doesn't seem like it matches. But C says, traipsing along at the tail end, we go ourselves. So some new people have been added to that procession. So that takes a little bit of work. I don't think that the line there screams less exclusionary. I don't think I noticed that or interpreted it that way when I first read it. But that's not my job. My job is not to understand perfectly everything the first time I read it, because the answer choices will give me hints about what it means. And so we use the choices to better understand the lines. This is a really fundamental idea. If you're reading a lot and rereading a lot, you're putting your focus in the wrong place. Move it from the passage to the choices. The choices tell you what to care about. This choice D told me to see if I could find anywhere the idea of exclusion and inclusion. Only then was I able to find it in line reference C. And so there you go. I would not have been able to tell you that if you had just straight up asked me, what does this line mean? I would not have made any sense of it. But because I had the choices, basically doubling as summaries, I was able to figure out what it meant kind of through this process of elimination, but also by looking at the strong words, seeing what the choices are telling me to care about, and then looking for that thing in the line. That's the reading strategy. This is a great pair in a great passage. Love everything about this. This is what you need to do to change your strategy so you can change your score.